you guys enjoyed that video that I put in the beginning. I got special permission from a villa called AYANA Villas Bali, located in Indonesia. And then I was able to get special permission because I was working with the PR agency, which is like the media team. And then, so in this video, I want to talk about how I'm able to fly FPV drones indoors with high confidence. So this whole video will be based on my experience with this indoor FPV thing. So this is called a Protek 35. I mounted a GoPro 10. It's not a naked GoPro, but this is what I basically use to fly indoors because, you know, it has prop guards and the motors are programmed to be slower compared to this one right here, this freestyle drone. This is meant to fly outdoors. You can't really, well, you can fly it indoors, but it's just not preferred because it's kind of dangerous compared to whereas like you were to shoot with this one right here. So if you were to shoot with this one, it's a lot slower and it's lighter and has prop guards, so it's a lot more sustainable inside like a small environment, like a hotel or like just flying indoors in general. So in this first part, I would pre-plan my flights and then just go over the safety protocol before you even like launch the drone into the air. So always plan your flight line before even getting the drone into the air. Not only does the battery not last long, just that if anyone else is involved in this shoot, they must be notified when the drone is passing by, just for safety. And it's good to have walkie-talkies or like even be on the phone with the talent or whoever's on your team in general that's involved with the shoot, just so like everyone is in like communication about what's about to go down and like make sure that everyone's safe during the flight, because these things, even though it looks small, it could do some damage. So you just got to make sure that everyone is like on the same page with the whole shoot. It's just recommended to have like an assistant with you. If you do have an assistant, utilize them as much as you can, because I know how hard it is to talk while flying a drone, because like you're super dialed into this activity. So like when I have my goggles on and my hands are really occupied on the sticks, all my senses are like taken up already, so all I have is my ears. So then for my indoor FPV flights, I use the Protek, with this one here, I use the Protek Cinewoop with the GoPro 10 mounted on top. So after planning my line, I always get at least 1 or 2 warm-up lines in first before actual shooting the content. So what this means is that this is so I can be comfortable with my sticks and any obstacles of all the frames first before involving talent in the line. So I get comfortable with the line first and then later get your team on board and you fly at the same time. I really like to warm up with the camera mounted on the drone, just so I can get used to like the sticks and the payload weight of the drone, instead of like just flying with the drone itself and then when you're ready to shoot, you put the camera on. It doesn't make sense to me like that in my experience, because it's better to practice with the camera on top just so you can get used to the weight of the drone and like the actual flying. Now it's time for the actual shoot. After getting in the warm-up runs, it's time to start shooting, and make sure you notify your team that you're ready as well. So if your flight time involves different lighting conditions, like if you're to fly outdoors to indoors, make sure you use auto shutter. Don't lock in your shutter and expect the same lighting exposure inside the room. So because like if you're shooting a natural light like outside where it's like bright outside and you were to fly into like the hotel room or like any room in general indoors, the sunlight will always overpower like unnatural lighting inside of the rooms. So make sure you put an automatic shutter rather than an automatic ISO. If you're using a GoPro 10, I would recommend shooting on 4K 60 frames per second. If you mistakenly fly a little bit too fast and you don't have extra footage, you can always slow it down in post-production editing. Instagram and TikTok, the exporting frames timeline is 30 frames per second. So since you're recording at 60 frames per second, you're able to slow it down by 50% maximum without having the frames start lagging. It's hard for me to talk when I'm hella dialed in while flying. So like if you're able to get an assistant with you, utilize them as much as possible, just so like everything goes smooth for you. Because like I know it's kind of hard to like talk to your team, like full-on communication when you're flying. It's just too many senses like going on. I know it's difficult, because I've been flying since 2020, and whenever someone asks me a question, all I can do is like, most of the time I just say one word and I'm quiet the whole time. Always review the footage that you're shooting just to make sure that's the shot you actually need before wrapping up. I would always run the same shot minimum 3 times before moving on to the next shot. Yeah, and then I got some prior tips, like 3 specifically prior tips before y'all go out there and like fly indoors. So tip number 1, set up a course outdoors at the park, or like just go to the park in general and then fly closer to trees, and then go through like the branches and shit like that, so you're able to get, you know, more accurate with your flying. So flying fast all the time, like it's cool and all, but I think flying slow and steady and with accuracy, you will improve better as a pilot. So if you want to get hella good at flying, then flying for accuracy through obstacles at the park, or like flying through like tree branches and shit like that. This will prepare you the best to flying indoors where it's like hella tight spaces. Tip number 2 before flying, tune your Cinewoop motors according to the location. So for example, you're flying through like a resort, right? A big resort. It's okay to have like motors that are like super slow, but it's enough to get by. But if you were to fly inside like of a hotel room, then I say you tune your motors down so the output is less. Because like if your output is super high, it's really hard to get accurate with like the flying inside of like a small hotel room. Especially if you're flying around people, make sure the motors are super slow just so you have more control. If your output is super fast, then you will most likely not get super accurate with your flying at all. And it can like be potentially kind of like dangerous to fly around people. Tip number 3, practice in your own home first, or like a friend's business if you're trying to get into like the commercial side of things. So before you even get into the commercial side, you must pass the test called Part 107 commercial license for drone pilots. So this is what you need to actually like make money. And if you want to get hired for special indoor FPV projects like the ones that I'm showing you right now in this video, then you just gotta keep practicing and then make sure you are showing the right people who actually want this footage. Yeah, so in conclusion, like yeah, flying indoors can get kind of scary compared to flying outdoors. Because you know, outdoors, like you have a bunch of area that you can fly through and around, compared to indoors, you got tight spaces and all that. So when you do get comfortable with flying outdoors, start flying around objects low to the ground, or like just through stuff, just so you get comfortable prior to flying indoors. Because I think flying inside any building or any room, that's some next level stuff. You gotta be kind of accurate, or like super accurate with flying with the sticks. And if you want to fly FPV for clients, you gotta get commercially licensed through the Part 107 licensing test. And then once you pass that, then you can, I guess, legally, you know, make money from this hobby. Or if you want to start a business out of it, you can. And yeah, like business owners nowadays, from my experience, they want FPV footage incorporated in their ads somehow, just so they can stand out from their competitors. And the best way to actually get good at flying is just to actually just keep practicing, put in the hours. Yeah, once you finally realize that you're not crashing no more, then you can start flying indoors. So yeah, I hope like this video brings some value and knowledge based on my own experience. I don't know how other pilots got to this point of flying inside. I just had an idea of trying indoors recently. Like I just started flying indoors recently, like last year, because I wasn't crashing outside it anymore. I was able to dive waterfalls, go through like little like tunnels and stuff like that. Yeah, without even crashing. Like I don't even get like nervous anymore on the sticks when I'm flying outdoors. So I'm like, okay, maybe another way to challenge myself is to actually fly indoors.
What's good, guys? It's BG Pham right here. In this video, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. Like I think this channel's direction is kind of lost still. But all I know is that if you're into filmmaking, you're into FPV, or if you're trying to learn something, feel free to subscribe. You already know I'm about to provide y'all some good value and good content. I think that's all I gotta say now. Goodbye.